All right, time for us to meet our power woman of the day. My guest today is our Awashike Ndwati. She is the founder and CEO of Centonomy, which is a financial advising company. Good to see you again, Awashike.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, so tell us about Centonomy, when you came up with the concept, how long it's been in existence, and a little bit more about what you do.
Okay, all right. Centonomy, actually, the motive behind Centonomy was actually my own personal issues with money. Because when I left employment, as many people do, the salary stopped. And that's when I looked back and realized how badly I had been spending money when I had it. A salary is a very important thing to have, but it depends on what you do with it. So when I started my first business, it was actually in the stockbroking industry, but I was going through that, and because it was now my business, I was also getting the chance to talk to people about money. Then I realized with money, we're not talking about money. We never learnt about money. We may be talking about investment shares like what I was doing, but not the other things that lead to you being able to invest. So I decided to turn the business into actually teaching myself. I was the first student of Centonomy, and in the process starting a business that was actually empowering people to manage their finances and to actually create wealth. So we started in 2009, and in 2012 we started by doing one-on-one, like me sitting with you about your money, but in 2012 we turned it into courses. So we were the first in the country, actually in the region, to come up with structured courses for people to learn about managing money. So our first course targeted people who are already working. They're earning money or they run a business, but it teaches them how are you spending your money, how do you deal with debt, how do you plan for retirement, how do you set goals, how do the different types of investments work. So it's the way the course runs. It's an 11-week program. People come to class for 2.5 hours per week. Once a week you learn something different, you go away with assignments, you come back, you discuss. And the good thing about Centonomy is that you're doing it in groups, and what has happened is people have found they're not alone in these issues of money. As we did that, we found that everyone would say, I wish I knew this when I was younger and younger. So we now have a similar course for people in university, and a course for teenagers that we run in the holidays for people in high school.
So I was just going to ask, what's your typical clientele? But I think you've kind of answered that in terms of age, right? You know, how financially aware are we as a society, and does it range with the age difference?
Definitely. So now I would say our age is anything from anyone who's a teenager, you can come to Centonomy, to all the way till you're 60 years old. So the typical person who would come to Centonomy is, yes, you are financially aware, but it's one thing being aware and one thing to actually do it. We're very aware when it comes to how we could spend money and the many things we can buy with money, but now putting it to practice. And what people have lacked before it is that almost coaching and hand-holding to be able to tell you, this is what you should be looking at, this is how to do a budget that will actually work, this is how to look at ways of creating income, this is how the different types of investments work. People have a lot of information, and nowadays there's a lot of information. There are a lot of people selling all sorts of financial products, but what we found is there's nobody to actually explain, why should I buy that share, why should I buy that insurance? And I think also what has happened is that the messages we receive every day are so contrary to what wealth creation actually is. We receive messages of how to spend, buy a bigger car, there's so many ways to spend, let's borrow, but really to drill down to how do I make that money work for me so that the day that I am not working, I can actually have an income coming in that can sustain my lifestyle. I think that's the gap that has been missing, and that's what
wealth creation
of what wealth creation actually is.
Right, because the basic information that we have about money is save this much of your salary. But what's the next step?
What's the next step? And it's really thinking, if I earn 50,000 shillings now, one day I'm going to retire, what will be generating that 50,000 shillings? And to provide any other needs. I may still have children going to school. And I think with the approach you've taken with younger people is to start saying, if you can save 200 bob now as a teenager, you will be very rich by the time you are 30 years old. And to start helping them adopt that mindset of saving, and then it's easier to get them to adopt a mindset of investing.
Talk to us a little bit about your educational background, how you kind of found yourself in the finance world.
My first degree was in business administration. It was a very general degree. Really came from high school, don't know what you want to study, you just studied, yeah. Then I did a master's in banking and finance. When I finished school, I got a job. I just almost fell into the investment industry. So I first worked for a property, I worked as an accountant at one point. Then I worked for a property company that used to help people get mortgages. Then I started working for investment banks, yeah. African Alliance. I worked for CSC Stanbic at one point, yeah. But the funny thing is, I had the knowledge, but I never invested for myself. So that was good thing, yeah. So by the time I was leaving, I used to actually help people buy and sell shares on the stock market, but I never used that knowledge for myself. And I think that's what a lot of people find, that sometimes you do have the knowledge in a certain area, but translating it into yourself. So you'd think by my work experience I should have come out extremely wealthy.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that you never invested yourself? What was happening there?
Comfort. I think there's always the 24th, which will be paid in the bank, is will be paid on the 24th. There's always the 24th. And for a lot of people, they just we hide behind a lot of excuses. So for some people, for me it was comfort. Money is coming. I know I should save and invest. Yeah. But money is coming in on the 24th. So there's always a reason to say next month. But sometimes we've also found people we become victims. We say, I can't do it. It's too expensive. The economy,
there's not enough money coming in.
There's not enough money coming in. And I think as long as we're looking at life that way, we're never going to look at reasons as to what we can actually do. And I think even from my own story, I just started with what I knew. Let me try and build some curriculum, let me teach people. And there's a lot of talent people have within them. So you may not have money, but you may have a skill. You know how to cook, you know how to draw, you know how to design, you're good with communication. So many things that even if the money coming in is not enough, there's something you can do with it. And that's why the second line of products we actually started was on entrepreneurship, even with autonomy, because we also felt there are a lot of people who start businesses or want to start businesses or are sitting with serious skills that they can turn into a business, but again, they don't want to they don't have the tools to empower them to be able to turn that skill or that idea into something that can actually generate income sustainably for them.
Now, have you always had an entrepreneurial spirit? Has this always been something that, you thought at some point I'll start my own company? Because some people just say, I'm not an entrepreneur.
I think I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I like the word you used, spirit. A lot of people think entrepreneurship is because you started a business. So there is that, and it's largely referred to as starting a business. So I watched my parents who are entrepreneurs, so maybe I had that bug in me as well. I did at one point tell myself I will start a business, but I think entrepreneurship is more than just starting a business. It is about the creative, the innovation, the problem solving. It's about the attitude and the character that comes with entrepreneurship. You can foster that character through a business, but you can also, wherever it is working, you can have an entrepreneurial spirit and help that organization go further. But in terms of starting a business, yes, I did want to start a business, and I think the entrepreneurship program we teach has taken not just my lessons, a lot of people's lessons in starting, growing and sustaining a business, because we always hear these statistics, 80% of startups are going to fail. And a lot of the time it's because a lot of people blame capital. Yes, capital is one of the challenges entrepreneurs face, but another thing is it's our thinking around what a business is. If you enter a business purely for money, you face a rude awakening. But it's also we don't learn how to set up this kind of structures that can make the business grow. And you find that if you're the only one, if I was the only one who could run my business, I would not have time to sit here with you today. If you're the only one who can actually do the work, the business is not going to survive very long. So we actually teach people about how do you actually grow and scale and set up those structures within a business so that it can actually become a wealth creation vehicle.
You mentioned the mindset that we have about businesses, and you'll hear people saying all the time, biashara ni ngumu. Don't even enter that realm. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you find Kenyans making when it comes to their money? What are some of the basic things that we're not doing?
First, we don't know how much we spend. People know how much they earn. They know how much that is credited into their account. But when you ask them, so how much of it goes to food? They're like, approximately 10,000. How much do you spend on entertainment? Approximately this. How much are you using to service debt? approximately this. People don't have an idea how much exactly is it. So one thing is we don't know where our money is going. We're out, we're spending, we're buying airtime, we're doing all these things, but they can't tell you I spend this much on airtime per month.
Very true.
So number one, that's fundamental. If you don't know where your money is going, you won't know where you're wasting money to be able to use that money in a better way.
Yeah.
And I think I always use this example. Mine was just understanding my lunch money. The day I realized 300 bob on lunch per day is over 100,000 shillings a year.
Wow.
Just that. Then you now think, do I want to keep, then if you don't know where your money is going, you can't make choices. So for me, I was now able to say, do I want to keep eating 300 bob per day on lunch, or do I want to have 100,000 shillings at the end of the year to do an investment, pay debt, pay school fees, go on holiday? Yeah. Right. So you can. So we don't know where to make choices. Secondly, is we are consuming way beyond what we're earning, and to do that, we're taking debt to do it. So you find people are swiping credit cards.
Oh yes.
Mshwari. There's so many different ways of taking credit these days, and credit is good. Circle loans. Credit is good if you're using it to be able to buy investments that earn you more money than what the debt costs you. But credit, when it is used for consumption, is bad credit. It means if I went and bought a sweater with a credit card, instead of paying 500 bob for that sweater, because of the interest over time, I could end up paying 6,000 bob for the same sweater, simply because I used my credit card. And I'm not aware of it. We're not taking time to learn and understand how money works. And it's not our fault. We were not taught. Right. It's not in the school system. Yeah. But I think now the responsibility is on us to say, how do I actually learn about my money and seek out that information? We are in a hurry. That's another mistake we're making. So people get into all sorts of investment schemes. You've had all the pyramid schemes that are popping up now again, because we're like, oh dear, time has gone, and I want my 100,000 to become 10 million overnight. So that overnight culture is also where we're making a mistake. And unfortunately, anyone who has created wealth will always tell you it is a process. Yeah, it's about taking your, if you can't manage 100 shillings, even when you're given 100 million shillings, you will not be able to. You'll not be able to manage.
And I think it's important, like you're saying, for people to start early, for teenagers to have sound financial advice. Because you're saying it is a process. What would you say is the best part of your job? What do you enjoy most?
I enjoy one. I enjoy growing people. So I have a fantastic team, and I enjoy seeing them stretch themselves beyond what they thought they could do, and actually seeing them up on stage and doing things that they never thought they could do. So first of all, it's the people who work with me that I really enjoy growing. But I've really enjoyed seeing the impact it has had on others. When people come and tell you, my debt is paid, I've been able to buy a home, I've started a business, I've moved from 2 employees to 8 employees, I'm not being able to pay school fees for these much people. When you actually see the impact, we've had teenagers who are making money because on holidays now they're selling cakes, they're selling they're making products that they're selling, or they're the same teenagers who are telling their parents that's not a need, it's a want. So when you see that impact, is what it's hard, but it keeps me go every day. And I must say the third thing is, and I always say, entrepreneurship is about growth of character. I am changing every day. Things that used to scare me 5 years ago no longer scare me, because I have bigger things that are scaring me. And I think whether it's, that's why I call it an entrepreneurial spirit. All of us in life, I think it's up to us to look for those things and do those things that are stretching us beyond our comfort zone. Because when we're in a comfort zone, we'll try and find distractions, because we each have something in us that is yearning to come out, to be exposed to, and that's where we find fulfillment. So I think that has been seeing even myself, stretching myself, and my character changing.
Do you have like sort of a typical day for you? What's a day in the life of?
Okay, I don't have a typical day, but a day in the life of me is one. I'm also a wife. I'm also a mother. So there's family and family responsibilities and spending time with family. But at work, it is we usually have classes that are running. I'm either teaching, or if I'm not teaching, I'm looking at the feedback. If I'm not looking at the feedback, I'm creating material for new for new courses or new talks that we're actually doing. Growing the company, we do a lot of going out and speaking to people, a lot of awareness, like what I'm doing right now, or later on I'm going to another place to speak to other people about it. So we do a lot of going out and speaking to people. I write a lot. Yeah, I have a column in the Saturday. I write a column in Saturday Nation. But I would say in a nutshell, my key job is listening. Yeah, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm talking, whatever, it's always about we are listening and really hearing the problem and understanding what is the solution to that problem and how can we be a part of it, especially when it comes to wealth creation, money, and entrepreneurship. Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who just think I'm too far gone right now in my financial situation to even get help, so let me just stay in this hole, you know, just maintain. What would be your advice to someone who has that mentality?
It's never late, and I know the person who's there and they're hearing that would be saying, as everyone has told me, it's never too late. Yeah, she's not saying anything new, but I really mean it. It's about taking the step that is right in front of you. You see, we get overwhelmed. If your situation is so bad, you feel it's so bad, you get overwhelmed because you're trying to see what is the ultimate solution to resolve the entire situation.
Right.
Maybe I have got this big debt and I'm trying to find what resolves this entire debt in one sweep so I'm clean. But maybe no, maybe you need to find what gets me my first 5,000 shillings, which helps me pay off 5,000 portion of that debt. That 5,000 shillings will then open my eyes to how I can now next time make it 10,000, then 100,000. It's just really looking what is the first step in front of you. Sometimes that first step may be having a conversation with somebody. Sometimes for some people a lot of that first step is they're feeling overwhelmed, but they've never actually written down what is my problem, how much do I owe. So maybe the first step is to become completely aware of what is going on. But don't worry about cleaning up the whole mess.
It won't happen overnight.
Step number one, and every day you waste is the next day you'll be wishing you started the day before.
Yeah.
So if one day someone asked me if you had to start all over again and you are a baby, what would you do? The answer to that, do it. Yeah. Answer to that, do it. Yeah.
You've talked about, you know, being inspired by seeing results through your clients' lives. Where else do you gather your inspiration from, or where does this passion, because you have to have a passion to be doing what you're doing, where does that come from for you?
One, it's from observation. Yeah, I think from a long time ago, from when I was very young, I was quiet because I was listening to people's conversations. And even now, when I listen to people's conversations, I may say nothing, but I take away something from it. Yeah, I read a lot, so my inspiration does come from that. I also do my own learning a lot. I seek out information, I seek out courses, I seek out programs to actually keep learning. My inspiration comes from my team a lot. I believe a lot of them can do things I personally cannot do, and they inspire me a lot. And my family inspires me a lot. Even just seeing my kids, how they are at this young age, really inspires me a lot. But I think the biggest inspiration for me is understanding that one day, and I think it's for all of us, and I always tell this to my students, one day, imagine this is your last day on earth and God decides to play a movie of your life. What do you want that movie to show? That.
Wow.
Thinking about that movie.
In an ideal world for you, you know, Centonomy has done well, and Kenyans are more aware of their financial situation. What does that picture look like for you? If, you know, there's one thing you would want to see in our society when it comes to, you know, how we manage our finances, what would that be?
First of all, it's for everybody to be convicted that they can create wealth, to really believe that they can create wealth. We may not all create wealth the same way. Not all of us will buy property. Not all of us will start a business. We were all born with a different thumbprint, and that means you're meant to do things a different way. So in an ideal world, it's where people stop looking at what everybody else has and comparing themselves with the next person. So and so is driving a Mercedes. Even so and so started this kind of business. Even me, I'm going to go and copy them and start that same business. So it's in an ideal world, it's people to recognize everybody came to this world with something, and it's your job to discover what is that something and bring it out. When you discover that, you do realize by using that, that is your path to wealth creation.
Yeah.
So everybody understanding that we can actually create wealth for ourselves and do it honestly, and then we can stop a lot of this going on.
Yeah.
I think for me it's the belief system that we have, rather than just the material possessions that we would have because of that. The belief system that would have, that everyone can actually believe I have something to bring to the table.
I love that. The fact that we don't all have to go and buy land. Okay, so we're just winding up here. Perhaps you can share with people who might be interested in your courses about where they can find more information.
Okay. As I mentioned before, we can run a course about personal finances and wealth creation, and we also run a course on entrepreneurship. They can find us on centonomy.com. Our phone number is 0700-036-433. Twitter at Centonomy, Facebook Centonomy, email talksense@centonomy.com, or they can even email me, washeke@centonomy.com, and we can give them the information. And we have classes starting towards the end of May, so registration is currently ongoing. And as I said, if you are young, you are in university, don't think it's too late. You can do so much with money. 150 bob saved every day for the next 10 years is already in the millions. It's already over 1 million shillings. So if you want to start now, we do have a Centonomy Campus Edition if you're in university, and you can also enroll now as well. But I would like people to just to take home is to understand that wealth is always about multiplication of what you have. It's always about making your 1 3. So it could be an idea, you have a business idea. A lot of people are being retrenched and wondering, what do I do? And for some of them, we've told them, maybe it's not another job for you. Maybe the time is to that business idea you've been thinking about, maybe it's time to start getting it to go somewhere. It could be you have 10 shillings, you can make it 20. It could be you have a network, it could be you have a skill, but it's always about saying, what is the next step with what I have, not looking at what you don't have. Please don't look at the 100 million you don't have, or the Range Rover you don't have. And I think for us it's to really understand what wealth is. Wealth is what works when you're not working.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Washeke Nduati, our Power Woman of the Day, founder and CEO of Centonomy, with some absolutely great financial advice. Thank you so much for watching Power Breakfast this morning. On behalf of myself and Charles Odhiambo, I just want to say thank you, and for all your feedback as well. We will be back tomorrow morning with more. But for now, we leave you with some more music from Carlos Kiba.